just keeps going on, and it's not easy sometimes. Relationships are not easy, and feeling feelings is not easy, and seeing how you relate to something. And I feel very much this year it's about taking on more of our own responsibility, especially emotionally, not projecting out so much, and not disconnecting inside so much. So allowing us to reconnect those parts that have been disconnected, to start embodying more, to feel more your physical body, to feel more your emotions, to understand the patterns that have been created physically, emotionally, and mentally. And to have more, to bring in more of our awareness and consciousness of our expanded self, of our spiritual self. And that's something that, at the one hand, it makes us more aware of our individuality and our own unique form. And at the same time, that sense of connection that's happening, more and more connection within ourselves, more and more connection within the brain, pathways within the brain, our nervous system becoming more connected through our whole body and understanding the nervous system. And that connection, funny enough, even though you're putting all the attention in that sense inside, but that connection also reflects that in all your relationships, and all your relationships become more connected. And you start seeing that if I, let's say I judge someone, suddenly I see, oh, actually I have that too, so let's work on it in me and just send them love, because they're struggling with this too. And also, because we're more connected, if I'm going through really good shifts, then I can also bring in more, I can attract better things into my life, and I can flow more with things that are happening and be more present to what's happening, because I can be more present to myself and I'm not in avoidance of my own feeling. Then I don't have to try to control my outside environment so much to try and regulate what triggers me and what triggers my feelings. So when I'm able to be more in my feelings and more accepting and more connected and more trusting and more loving here, then I can also, as a consequence of that, be more present with others and more allowing, really just surrendering what is, really listening to others, really seeing them, really hearing them. And that automatically enhances that connection. And because I work with Jungian work, in the therapy that I do, but also when I go to my therapist, I always think it's really important to have someone to go to do process work with. And any process work I do with others has a very strong Jungian kind of sense to it. So, and the Jungian, what Jung was really, what he brought to the world was his awareness that everything around you is basically a reflection of yourself as well. So, so when I have a part of me, like, and even in the greater world, so anything that's happening in the world is a reflection of me. It sounds really weird, but let's say there's wars going on, and we can always say, well, it's someone else's fault. And of course, there's lots of people playing a part in these wars on the really physical level, but in the metaphorical, or in the sort of etheric levels and the spiritual levels, what's also happening is a lot of us are suppressing our anger. And if most of us are disconnected from our own anger and suppressing that, that anger sort of has to erupt. It's like a volcano somewhere else, because we're all one system. So then this anger energy starts sort of accumulating somewhere, and then conflict can easily arise there. And so everything, even conflict in people around us, that are having trouble with this really difficult behavior, it it becomes worse when we project out judgment to them. It's harder for them to not have that. But also, if I take responsibility and say, where am I in conflict with myself? Where am I falling back into old mistakes and old patterns? When we do that, then because part of why we judge others, why we're so obsessed with them and focused on them, is because it keeps us from focusing on ourselves. So when we focus on ourselves, we find we become softer towards others. So yeah, it's good. And so you can work on outside situations and circumstances directly, but you can also work on it, and I think it's important to do both. So let's say I have a disruptive relationship, someone's not honoring my boundaries, then what I do is I focus on, where do I not honor my boundaries? And I deal with that, and I feel into the emotions of that, and I feel into, what do I need to do? Where is this coming from? What pattern is it? I feel into that, but at the same time, I might have to say something to this person, or say I love our relationship, but I just don't like this aspect, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. Or I can step up in speaking my boundaries more, but I also could step away if it doesn't feel appropriate. So it's goes in and out. So that was a bit of a reflection about, I don't know where that came from actually, but it was a good reflection. So I'll keep it in there. And I'll keep these videos a little bit short. What is it? It's already 6 minutes. My idea of short is anything that's under half an hour, I think. Anyway, I know 6 minutes is a lot for many people, so I'll leave this at that. And then I'll move on to my next little video. Alright. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I hope you could relate to it. Somehow it can be valuable. Alright, thank you.